Shit. Well, today we're gonna learn how to change colors. Okay, so let's set the stage. You're working on a project or you have a client request to change a specific color in the shot. So let's say that this is the project we're working on and they want this rose to match the other roses. All right, so all we need to do is just match the pink rose to the purple roses because they want to emphasize the purple roses for a campaign that they're doing. So it's pretty easy. You would just go through and whatever you have done to your other shots, if you have luminance in here to make it a little brighter, bring it down, make it a little more contrasty. Okay, so that's your first node. And a part of that grade is adding a little more saturation into the shot, so something like that. And then we get to now matching the roses. We're gonna go over to the curves, and then in this drop down, we're gonna go to hue versus hue. And we need to pick this color here, and I'm guessing that it's along the reds. So we're gonna just take the reds and we're gonna make it a bit purple. So something like that. We're pretty close, but you can see it's a bit brighter than this and a little more saturated. So we wanna work on that as well. So now if I was to go over into hue versus saturation and drop that saturation, I'm not going to pick purple. Even though it's represented as purple right now, all the curves in this node are going to work off of the color in the previous connection point. If I have it connected to this node, it's gonna be everything out of this node. And what I mean by that is if I turn this off, we remember that it's a pink or more red than purple. So we're gonna still be doing corrections in the red because all of the information is being pulled from the node before. So we'll just come in and we'll drop the saturation down a bit. So we're pretty close. I would say right about there is pretty close. We're gonna come down to hue versus luminance now, and this is gonna take the hue, whatever the color is, and then we can drop down how bright that is. So we'll drop it down just a little bit, something like that. And I feel like that is pretty close. If I was asked to make it a little more purple, I think that fits right in there. Well, let's go back to where we were, which was here, and that one node off, so we turned everything to a purple. So now whatever their campaign is, they can now represent it with all purple roses. Now let's jump over to the next shot, and in this shot, we're selling pink coats, okay? But this gentleman's coat isn't pink, so we need to get his coat pink. So we're gonna do the same exact stuff as we did before. I'm gonna make it a little brighter without crushing everything completely. We'll bring up saturation a little bit because we want that jacket to pop. And like we were doing before, we'll go into hue versus hue, and we're gonna grab this jacket, and if you click on it, it's going to pick that color and a little bit of deviance outside that color as well. So I could just pick all yellow because there's nothing in this shot that is like a brown or a yellow. But if we did do that and it was a lot of other colors were being affected by that, what we would do is we just simply click on the color that we want it to affect. And if it wasn't capturing that whole color, we could just move these little guys out a little bit. So we're going, forget what color we're doing. Okay, we're doing pink. So we're gonna go up to like a pink. I think that's pink. It's close enough. When you move these little guys, what you're gonna want to do is the hue rotation. You're going to want to always end them at 0 if the point previously was 0, because if I have it down here, it's obviously going to make a great, it's gonna make a bit of a curve here, and I don't want that. I don't want any of the other colors affected. All I really wanna do is just move left and right. Okay, now we have the shot pretty close. I would say let's go into hue versus luminance, and we can pick that color again Let's just drop this down a little bit. Dropping it down is obviously going to add the effect of a little more saturation. So let's go into saturation, pick that color again. Let's go down a little bit. And I would say that that is pretty close. That represents it pretty close. Now we're only selling jackets, so we really don't want to affect his hat. To fix that, in the same node still, let's go over to our power windows, and we can pick any one here, but I'm just going to pick the circle to make it easy. And I'm going to take the circle, so right now it's only changing stuff inside the circle. So I want to move the circle over the jacket. And as you can see while I size this up, is that only his jacket's being affected and not this guy's hat. So we have that. But obviously we're doing video, so we have movement. And if we have movement, that power window is not going to be in the right spot. So we're going to come over to the tracker. What I recommend doing is turning off your grade. So just going to click up here to turn off your grade, and that will allow your computer to use all of its resources to track instead of also trying to add whatever the color grade is that you have. So we're going to just go to the beginning, size it up, and then hit track. And it looks like it was tracking the background, because the background was the primary thing in the shot. So all I'm going to do is just make this a little smaller, make my selection a little more specific, and we'll try it again. Now we're tracking on the boy. And as we move, it's a little all over the place, so we'll fix it up just a little bit. If we're on clip, the clip setting, anything we change is going to maintain the movement of the power window and just adjust where its location is relative. So if I was to move it over here and play the power window, it's going to have that same movement. Okay, so we don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to come over to frame, and then what this will allow you to do is every single frame adjust itself to the last key frame. So we'll just go through here and we'll play it, and you know, at this point we can play it with the color on so that we can see when it's not in the right spot. So we'll go through a little bit. Okay, there, and you can just click this little guy. His back or his elbow is sticking out a little bit, so we can come back and turn this back on so we can move it. Now I want to go a couple of frames before and align it again so we have a keyframe, and then we're going to feel like that kind of did it, but we can just move it over a little bit more, and we'll just go through this shot. Okay, so we have him fall down. We'll go through this shot and set this, move it around so that we keep him in there. And if we need to, everything is keyframeable. So if I change the size of the shape, that is going to be in there as well. So if it starts out small and I change a keyframe for it to get bigger, on its way to that next keyframe, it'll start to enlarge to get to that next size. So I come in here and make this just a bit bigger to cover him, since he's getting a little bigger. Make this a bit bigger, because now the other gentleman's not even remotely close. So I don't have to worry about him. And every shot's gonna be a little different. Okay, so now let's play this through and see how we're looking. Hey, if I didn't know that that jacket was yellow before, I definitely want to know. One other thing that I think I'm going to do is within the luminance, I think I'm still going to drop it down just a little bit. Maybe drop this down just a little bit. Just seemed like it was a little bright for the overall shot. That's another thing that you want to keep wary of, is that you don't have, if all of the colors in the shot are like one saturation level. You don't want to have something like crazy unless that's what you're going for. If you want it to seem like it was always there, you kind of want to match whatever the saturation levels and the luminance levels of everything. So let's go back and look at our other shot. Like I said, I think that came out pretty well. I wouldn't know any difference. Just another amazing ability that DaVinci has, and I love this program. Again, my name's JR, and thanks for watching.